Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today in our short webinar around FIPS 140-2 Level 2 compliance solution that could meet 800-171 and other compliances that you may have internally. Today, what we want to review with you is a quick overview of what is FIPS 40-2 Level 2, also kind of look at our solution, our Axiad ID Cloud solution, and then maybe some takeaways and a demo at the end. So let's go through it. So what is FIPS 140-2 Level 2? Primarily, it's a federal information processing standard that is it's the benchmark for validation and for testing of cryptographic hardware. If you have a device that's FIPS 140-2, then you definitely have it tested and validated by the U.S. and Canadian government. Then you have Level 1 and Level 2. Today, we're more focused on Level 2 because it provides you with additional physical tamper evidence, and also there's some requirements on how, from a software implementation, how you must run and operate that device. But to kind of really sum it up, having a FIPS 140-2 Level 2 token gives you extra security and extra protection, and you know that it's been validated by the U.S. government, and also it puts you on the same level as tokens or devices that are used by the DoD. For example, in the DoD and the Department of Defense here in the United States, only for authentication, only FIPS 140-2 Level 2 tokens are approved for that level of authentication internally. A little bit about kind of what we see from the markets and what we see from a lot of our customers and partners. As everyone's circle of trust is expanding from their employees and contractors to vendors and suppliers, also to all the types of device and machines, whether they're in your network or outside your network or mobile devices, and of course your customers or members that you're interacting with. All of them need different levels of authentication and security. So because of that, now you have to trust your online transactions and your online authentication requests that are not coming just from internally and externally, but also from devices and from your partners and customers. There are different competitors out there in the market, different MFA solutions, but what we see in the market that more and more organizations are deploying multiple different types of MFA to achieve this kind of circle of trust. And today what we would like to show you is with our Axiad ID Cloud solution plus FIPS 140-2 Level 2 solution, you can address most of these needs in one single platform. A little bit about Axiad ID Cloud. If you followed us, kind of a high-level overview. If this is the first time joining our webinar, we thank you and kind of walk you through it from a high-level perspective. Axiad ID Cloud is built on a virtual private cloud, which gives every entity a dedicated solution or a dedicated platform. The goal is really to eliminate passwords throughout your environment. To do that, we have to leverage different types of MFA, and that could be based on your mobile device. It could be based on your hardware-based tokens, such as smart cards or YubiKeys. It could also be based on OTP or one-time password generators. The key goal is to be able to leverage all these types of devices, and most of them in FIPS 140-2 Level 2 mode, so that you can address all your authentication needs and eliminate password and be in a passwordless state. If we look at our platform, in our platform we can manage identity for privileged users. So anyone that has privileged access, and we've done webinars in the past on this, privilege doesn't just means your domain administrators or your high privileged users. It's really anybody that has access to privileged data within that environment. And that data could be on the IT network. It could be from your legal perspective or financial. So please follow along with us in our different webinar series, and the one called Who is Really Privileged, to kind of dive into that. But specifically for privileged users, we always recommend FIPS 140-2 Level 2 devices, such as here on the left-hand side, you can see, such as smart card or YubiKeys. For non-privileged, this is for your mass users that have less or least privileged. In this context, having something that's based on a mobile device with our Axiad ID wallet is great. And if people don't have mobile devices or don't want to use their mobile devices for corporate authentication, you can always give them a hardware-based token, and that's built on Oath OTP technology, which will generate the random digits. But it's key now that you have all these different types of devices is that give the user the capability to do all the self-service and self kind of assignment, lifecycle management, and we'll kind of take a quick look at our unified portal to kind of show that. Delegated administration, we're going to start a new webinar series called My Circle, so please join us on that. But basically, My Circle will allow you to go, instead of contacting a help desk, you can go to somebody that's within your circle. It could be a coworker that works in your same floor of the building, somebody that you work with at the same team, part of the same AD group. So you can go to that individual and they can do some basic help desk operations like unlock your token or reset your PIN, kind of help you with that. Synchronization to your directory, because it's a dedicated environment through the VPC and we have an IPsec tunnel, now our virtual private cloud or our platform really looks as an extension to your cloud, so everything is automatically synced. Then on the right-hand side, we have our secure access to federation. So if you have products deployed internally from an IEM perspective, such as Ping Identity or ForgeRock or anything like that, you can leverage our authentication scheme and authentication method to securely MFA those portals, and also such as Microsoft ADFS. Identity to machines, that is piggybacking off our dedicated managed PKI. So as part of the platform, we have a dedicated root and a dedicated issuing CA that can issue certificates to any type of device that you have within the environment. That could be your machines, your virtual machines, your VMs. It could be your IP routers, your VPNs, or even your IP cameras. Basically, any device within the network that can accept an X509 certificate. Our trusted community option, if you wanted to load on your phone or on your certificate or your smart card or your YubiKey, if you wanted to load certificates that are publicly trusted for email signature and encryption, or if you wanted trusted communities, for example, if you wanted certificates that are cross-certified with the Federal Bridge or with Safe Biopharma, that is also an option that we provide. But at the end of the day, now the user will have a variety of options to allow them to authenticate securely to their laptops, to their phones, to their desktops, and also allows them to securely interact digitally, whether they're sending signed and encrypted emails or signed and encrypted documents, or just authenticating to web applications via SAML. Kind of a more in-depth look in our platform, and as I kind of mentioned from a high-level perspective, it's really meant to address all your authentication needs. Please feel free to add any questions you have in the right box in the Q&A section, and we'll be happy to reach back to you and kind of maybe give you an in-depth look, or happy to answer any questions that you may have. But the main benefits of our platform is to really give you the higher trust. That means it's PKI based. It's based on FIPS 140-2 Level 2 implementation, all the way from the HSM to the token that's in the hand of the user. So you can see the level of trust, train, and security is all there without sacrificing the user experience. Again, at the end of this webinar, we'll show you how from a one-click issuance, we can really simplify the life of the user and still not sacrifice any of the security aspects. So the frictionless user experience, now that we have My Circle and the unified portal, the user is capable to not only do the self lifecycle operations, but also can ask a coworker to help them, so there's no disruption of business. If somebody forgets a token at home, or if somebody locks their token, there's a very easy way to go and do that operation. Leveraging IAM, as I mentioned, is as soon as you have any kind of third party that's maybe doing your single sign-on or your SAML, such as ADFS, ForgeRock, Ping, or others, we can definitely be added as an extension to that, and we can be the MFA schema so that you can leverage your FIPS 140-2 credentials to access these portals. And because we have the VPC, the Virtual Private Cloud, and it's connected to the IPsec connection, as I mentioned, that gives you that secure access. And because it's turnkey, so your ROI and your cost is very simple and it's very cost effective, because now you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on consulting to get it up and running, and also hundreds of thousands of dollars for maintenance alone for carrying and feeding for this, because this is a turnkey cloud. A little bit about the deployment part. So as I mentioned, everyone gets their own virtual private cloud, and it's based on hardware security modules that are also FIPS 140-2 level 2. So as you can see, the whole chain is there. We also do our SOC 2 Type 2 against 853 moderate impact controls, so that you can also look at the NIST publication for that. From a packaging and marketing perspective, as I mentioned, we have 3 different packages. We have our privilege, that's really PKI based with FIPS 140-2 level 2 credentials. We have the non-privileged, that's basically primarily the leverage of mobile devices, push notification, or hardware OTP tokens. And these could be based on FIPS 140-2 level 1, for example, on the iPhone. And the enterprise IoT, that's the issuing of certificates for devices within your network and whatever device that can accept an X509 certificates. And of course, we have our professional services and consulting team that can walk you through the whole process, from the business analysis, the operational assessment, defining a program, then the deployment, and after that, the ongoing services if needed. If you have the technical capability in-house, or you already have a team that you're working with, then that's great. But sometimes we realize some organization needs a little bit more additional expertise around these topics, and we're happy to help in that context. So hopefully, as we mentioned, this is a very short and quick webinar, but we hope that there's 3 takeaways that you take from this webinar today, is that deploying FIPS devices definitely adds additional security. The second takeaway is that we, as Axiad IDS, we offer Axiad ID Cloud. That's a turnkey solution that's up and running in under 45 minutes, and that would give you the capability of doing the full lifecycle management of FIPS credentials, whether in level 1 or level 2 mode. And the last one is we hope that we took out the fear or the stigma of that deploying FIPS 140-2 level 2 solutions might be complex, and that hopefully that you saw today during just this short webinar how easy it is, and it's easier than that we all thought, and that's definitely something that could be achieved in a matter of days and not months. I wanted to take the rest of the time to kind of show you a few of the things that we discussed. So this is the unified portal. So this is the end user. So on day 0 or day 1, when you have a new employee joining the organization, it's very simple. Here in this, it could be a smart card. For this demo, we're leveraging a YubiKey to demo. And in the YubiKey context, now you have, you can give the user kind of a one-time activation code to log into the portal, or because we are an extension of your data center, you could leverage your AD credentials just for the first-time authentication. And if we look here on what the user process is, it's really simple. So the user here is going to enter their AD credentials on the example just for this demo. And once they have the AD credentials, they're asked to add an identity. Once they click Add an Identity, now what they're asked to do is something really simple. Either it's a connected device, which is any type of device that you're going to connect to your computer via USB port, or it could be a smart card, or you could use an OTP token such as a hardware token or mobile-based. In this case, if you connect a connected device such as a smart card or YubiKey, for this demo we're going to go through the YubiKey use case, the unified portal will automatically detect it, and once it will detect it, it will detect the type, and then the user just needs to click Next. As soon as they click Next, by policy defined behind the scenes by the administrator, the user is asked to select a PIN, and they have to meet the policy set by the administrator, and then once they meet that policy, they can click Next. And now they're asked, because the YubiKey has the capability of doing three different elements of security built into the same token. In this case, we're going to do the FIDO U2F assignment, then we'll do the OTP, the one-time password assignment, and last we'll do the PKI PIV attestation and issuance. And all that is going to happen seamless behind the scenes, leveraging the same PIN. We're going to SSO the PIN behind the scenes for all this. So here the user is asked for the FIDO U2F just to tap the token. So they tap it, and you can see here processing to FIDO ATF. Behind the scenes, automatically, we did the OTP, and now we detect the PIV portion of the YubiKey, and we're going to be loading a authentication cert for Windows or Mac or Linux authentication. Then we'll load the signature and encryption certs. And this all happens in real time in less than 30 seconds, so it's pretty fast. Of course, depending on your network speed and latency, that could differ. And as you can see here, the user now has a token that's issued with three different types of certificates, a one-time password according to oath, and the FIDO U2F. And of course, the user has the capability of changing their PINs. They can look at details to see what type of certificates they have installed, and the three certs that I just mentioned. The OTP is active, and the FIDO U2F is active. And they can go on and disable or reactivate the token at any time. So we hope now we've shown you a very simple way through a one-click operation how the user can issue their FIPS 140-2 Level 2 credential. Now if we want to look at a different use case, and now we're going to look at a use case of deploying a FIPS 140-2 Level 1 credential to your mobile device. And again, it's a simple process. The user can authenticate to their portal, with whatever mechanism they have. In this case, in this video here, let me just go back for 1 second. You can see they already have a YubiKey issued with everything. They also have a hardware OTP token that's oath-based, but now they want to add the Axiad ID mobile wallet. So in this context, really simple. Before they click Add Identity Device, they need to download the Axiad ID mobile wallet. They can download that from the iOS store or from the Google Play Store. And once they've done that, they can go here and click Add Identity. Once they click Add Identity, they click on the Axiad ID mobile wallet. That's what they've loaded. They can be asked to create a PIN for that to access that mobile wallet. Once they click the PIN and click Next, it's really simple. They a QR code. They will be asked to go into their mobile wallet and click Scan. Once they click Scan, now they can go ahead and register their token, and it's really that simple in that one-click operation, and their token is created. So now that they have the YubiKey and they have their mobile token and they have an OTP hardware token, now we can enable the environments, wherever they authenticate to, they can use the appropriate level of token. What does that mean? That means at Windows, they have a choice of either leveraging their YubiKey and authenticating with PKI, with certificates based on the PIV compatible token, or they can leverage their mobile wallet and do a push notification and authenticate to Windows. When they go into ADFS, the same thing. They will have the option to use any one of the tokens that they've issued through our portal, and the same thing, obviously, with Ping Identity on ForgeRock. So now the user has the capability of truly using the appropriate level of MFA that they want, or the administrator or the organization can set which type of authentication that you want to require the user, depending on which resource or application they're authenticating to. But the key is that we hope that during this short webinar, we've demoed how you can really leverage FIPS devices, whether it's in the hardware-based or on your mobile-based, that you can, from one solution, from one platform, from one GUI, manage that full life cycle. We hope that you join us for future webinars, and we're happy to answer any additional questions that you have. My contact info is here, and of course you can reach out to our marketing team at any time, or go to our website and you can reach out to our sales team. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope you join us for future webinars. Thank you so much.